Good afternoon, everybody. We welcome you all to this session on Inculcating Leadership Attributes in Teaching Staff by Dr. Vijayam Ravi. Before we introduce the resource person for the day, let's understand some ground rules. We're live on YouTube, and to participate, you can use the comment box to ask your questions or answer a question asked by Dr. Ravi. Before ending the session, in between as well, we'll be sharing the feedback form links with you all so that you can fill in that form after the session. So we are waiting for some more people to join in, and then we will start. Waiting for some more people to join in. All right, so now it's time to start this session. Very good afternoon, everyone. Once again, we welcome you all to this session on Inculcating the Leadership Attributes in Teaching Staff by Dr. Vijayam Ravi. So I repeat the instructions once again before I introduce the resource person for you. We are live on YouTube, and to participate, you can use the comment box to ask your question or to answer a question asked by Dr. Ravi. During the session and before we end the session, we'll be sharing the feedback form links with you all so that you can fill in that form after the session. Now it's time to introduce the resource person for the day, Dr. Ravi. Being a part of the changing educational landscape for more than 40 long years, Dr. Ravi applies her depth of knowledge in consulting her clients. The rich experience that she has gathered as an educationist, administrator, principal, trustee, director of education, chairman, and managing director of a consulting firm enables her to critically analyze the strengths and the weaknesses of the system and deliver the most appropriate solutions to the client's needs, thus catering to the client's demand with a perfect concoction of customized processes and technical solutions rather than adapting the client's processes to a predefined framework. So without any further delay, I would request Dr. Ravi to take the session forward. Ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, great. Namaste, namaste to all of you. Thank you very much, Sumit and Preeti, and to Harper Collins also. Thank you very much. It is a privilege for me to be part of this endeavor of Harper Collins towards the teachers. And a very good afternoon to all of you. There may be principals there in the group, there may be teachers as well, and a big virtual hug to all of you. And hope all of you are doing safe, good with your health, because that is very, very important. Things are not the same as before, and you are facing tremendous amount of challenges in daily life, and I can only congratulate you. Each teacher I congratulate, each principal I congratulate, because what you all went through is an enormous amount of trouble and struggle, rather, to get the system into the real being. With your children on a Friday evening, when they all departed, you all thought that they will be meeting again on Monday morning last year, but the Monday never occurred, and the Monday is going to come now. Most probably, you will all be reopening your schools, and I'm sure all the principals and teachers would take enough care so that your children don't fall sick, you don't fall sick, and you don't fall into the ire of the parents, because that's very, very important. Article things are not smooth. Okay, so at the beginning itself, let me wish you all the best, and God's blessings be with all of you. All right. Now, the topic today is, as Sumit mentioned, the leadership attributes, of teachers. Now, who does not want to become a teacher? Who does not want to become a leader? I'm sorry. Who does not want to become a leader? A leader, when we enter, think about those good old days when we became a teacher, entered into a new classroom, and first time we were teachers, all of us. I was a teacher for 40 years. So that time we have some ambition in life that one time, sometime, that I could also become the leader of an institution, like my principal, like my director. I could also, probably, I may also create an institution and produce so many worthwhile children and contribute them to the society. So these are all dreams of teachers. So you have in the market, in the MBA studies, in every other journals that you read, several lessons on leadership. There is no dearth for it. But actual leadership is happening only when you are confronted with something. Then the real leadership trait in you wakes up. And so it is very, very important for teachers that every day, our teachers, every day is a challenge, because you don't know what is going to be there in a classroom that particular day. Some small little baby may come up with a problem, a huge problem for you. And to solve that, you have to run around. So these are all common known factors. Okay. So having said that, we have to study what are the traits or what are the attributes that we can give to teachers, or so that they can aspire to be leaders tomorrow, which is very important. At the same time, there may be few principals also in this group, so they also must be analyzing about their own leadership. Sometimes some of the small things that I say here may be helpful to them as well. All right, so let us proceed now with the presentation. Inculcating leadership attributes in teaching staff. See, principal is also a teacher. She or he was a teacher in the beginning, and then later became a principal. So what made them principals? Think about it. So there was that extra edge in some of them or all of them that made them sit in the chair. So it is always ideal that teachers working in any schools look at their principals and how they are handling the situations. That is very, very important for you. Let us see how the program goes today. Let me begin with one of my favorite philosopher and saint from China, Lasso. Let's see what he says. He says, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. When the student is truly ready, the teacher disappears. There cannot be any other best compliment for a teacher than this. Look at the depth of the sentence that he is using. When the student is ready, the teacher appears, which means a teacher cannot teach a wood or an iron thing. The student has to be lively, interesting, or shows interest, should be curious enough to know, then only the teacher can appear in front of him, or else the teacher would become a failure. So when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Now, when the student is truly ready, which means what? When the teacher has intervened and created that enthusiasm and that interest and curiosity in the children, then he becomes truly ready. Then the teacher disappears. This is the height of empowerment. The principals who are sitting in this program can think about this very well. When the teacher is truly ready, the leader can disappear. But that doesn't happen always. It is not that somebody is ready all the time. So the student has to be curious enough, should be interested in studies, interested in learning. Then the teacher empowers the child to think, analyze. This is one of the best statements I like about teachers, and so I showed it to you. Now, the index, we will be discussing these three. Teachers, what are they? Leaders, what are they? Leadership attributes in the modern scenario. Now, the olden times leadership also holds good. There isn't anything which has shown that it is wrong. But the modern scenario has n number of challenges. So it requires a very different mindset. So let us see what they are. Teachers, what are they? Teachers, what are they? To us, most of us became teachers because we wanted to become teachers. There may be few who were pushed into becoming teachers. So, and what they must be doing is, okay, so I have become a teacher, now I have to do this job. And they may be trying sincerely. But those people like that, those who took up the teaching profession without interest but were pushed into it, can look at the education scenario as something where they can grow if they make a very fervent effort, create a desire for the same. Teachers are great human beings, and more than that, they are curiosity generators. They create the curiosity, interest in children. Then they learn. My teachers used to say, this I used to talk in almost all forums, so some of you may have heard it also, but I like to say that. My teachers used to say, Madam, you can say 300 things about children learning, etc. We can take the horse to water, we cannot make it drink water. Which is a very true statement. You cannot make a horse drink water. Similarly, you cannot make a student learn if he doesn't want to learn. Okay, so I am saying, yes, you can make the horse drink water if you keep the horse thirsty. Keep the horse thirsty for water. Similarly, keep your student thirsty for knowledge by inculcating that curiosity in children. So you become a curiosity generator. And you also are a human being, great human being, because you are handling so many children in your class, so many who come from different backgrounds. So there isn't any student who's similar to the other. So with such a versatile group of students in front of you, you are a great human being. Love, affection, all compassion, everything is there with you. You are one. Knowledge and a skills provider. You provide the children not only knowledge, you are not only an adhyapak, you are also an upadhyaya, you are also a drishta, you are also a guru. You are providing so much of knowledge to the children, skills to the children. You are a nurturer of values. You tell the children if they go wrong, you call the children, tell them this is not the way it has to be done, or you teach the children values so that they all grow up as great human beings. You are a nurturer of values. You are inspiring. You are inspiring. This is something which actually, according to me, will make the life of a teacher worthwhile. On 5th September, all of you might have got greetings from children, isn't it? There may be small things they will write and give you. Teacher, you are great. Teacher, I love you. It is because of you I am like this. What more do we need? And these children, you may think that they may not remember you at all once they pass out of the 10th and 12th standard. They may not come back to you. Ask your principals and you yourself. They all will be in touch with you. Most of those children who have passed out of your institutions will still be in touch with you. That is because you had been an inspiring teacher. You not only taught them, you not only taught them values and lessons and skills and other things, but you also inspired, you motivated them to live, right? You inspired them and you have touched their lives. So, as a teacher, you have to touch the lives of children. That is your role. That is why you are there. You can be a chemistry teacher, math teacher, physics teacher, you can be anything. But if you don't touch the lives of children, you will not be remembered. So, therefore, you should remember that all these values, what are they? Teachers are all of this. Let us see what the leaders are. Educational leaders, what are they? They are actually, to me, educational leaders are leaders from behind. I'll tell you why. I'm a person who believes that leader does not walk in the front. You can disagree with me, you can agree with me. But this is something which I have proved, that leader walks from behind. I have proved it in my second PhD thesis. So without proof, I will not talk to you like this. So leader walks from behind. How? You know, you have two types of leaders. Leader who walks in the front and the followers go behind him. Okay? Then there is another group. The group goes in the front and the leader goes behind him. I stand by the second one always, and that's what I proved also. Like you see, in the case of a leader walking in the front, there is always a small little problem. What is the problem? The leader may go at his speed and sometimes may forget to turn back whether my team is coming with me or not. And these people behind that is the followers behind, sometimes may catch up with the speed, sometimes they may not. So it is a big problem. All right. So therefore, the other case. Let us look at the other case. It is something like a shepherd. An example I can give is that of a shepherd in Scotland. What they do, these shepherds usually have a dog with them, and the sheep will be going in the front, and the shepherd will be behind, and the dog will be there, and he will have a stick with him. That's all. So the sheep will be going in the route in the front, and they all know that their malik is behind. Suppose any one of the sheep goes here and there, the dog, the shepherd will touch the dog gently with the stick, and the dog will run there and nudge that sheep which is going here and there and put them onto the right path. This is leader from behind. What is the speciality of leader from behind? The people who are walking in the front know very well that if I fall, there is a shoulder to take care of me. Somebody is there behind me who will help me get up. This is, in other words, people call it as empowerment. You get the ability, you get the courage to walk in the front, and that's what your leader from behind gives you. One who identifies talents and empowers. A great leader always will find out what is your talent. You may be sitting for an interview with a principal, and he or she may be asking you various questions, but he or she will be observing your body language, what you are talking, what your CV is saying, how you are narrating your experiences. From that, they will get a lot of meaning into your own talents and skills, etc. And they identify that, and great principals, great leaders always will nurture those talents of those people and empower them. Come on, come forward, show up your talent. If you are a leader, you should be trained for that. You should come forward. How do these principals select the coordinators, HODs, and all that? It is not because they all like some people and they keep them. They all look for some quality, some caliber in the people, and they choose them as HODs and coordinators. Now, as far as the schools are concerned, there are very limited leadership positions in the schools, which is very sad, but then that is how it is. You can become a class coordinator, you can become a section coordinator, you can become an HOD, you can become a cultural coordinator or academic head or something like that, and then a vice principal, or then an administrator, or then a principal. So to come there, you have to show up your mettle. That's very important. Educational program driver. The principal, the leader, has to set the educational program. What do you mean by educational program? Yes, this year we are going to restart, and this is our planning, this is our strategy, these are the outcomes that I expect, these are my academic goals for the year. My teachers are with me. My system is in tune with the requirements of the teachers, and so I will take them along with. So the program, educational program for the school for the year, she or he is the driver. That's a leader. Then educational attainment achiever. Not only that, if the, say for example, since you are all muddled up with the NEP and worried about how to carry on, NEP is telling you that by 2025 FLN, the second chapter, fluency in numeracy and literacy, has to be Paka. And I heard sometimes the Prime Minister also talking on the TV channels that a student should be able to read 35, minimum 35 words in a sentence in 1 minute, which means the reading skills have to improve. So many expectations are there. So the academic goals, the principals probably would define, would be something similar. Yes, I will train all my students this year with the help of my teachers to attain so much of skill. So that is a goal, a program goal. Then that has to be attained. So the principal, the leader, would have to do all the efforts. The strategies need to be defined very clearly and they proceed. The most important quality of the principal or the teachers who want to be principal is that they should accept the children as they are. Now, this is something which is very difficult. I'm not seeing it in schools. Teachers have great expectations about the children. They are like this, there. Come on, they're all from different DNA. They all have a different makeup altogether. Their attitudes are different, aptitudes are different, skills are different, values are different. So we cannot expect them to be on an assembly line product scheme. Okay, so let us understand and accept the children as they are. And you and me, believe me, you and me, teachers, are not required to create a best and a gifted student out of a gifted student. You and me are required to produce a gifted student from a mediocre one. You are there required for a gifted student to help him go higher. That is all. So it is very, very important that accept the children as they are. You must be a great reader. There is a saying that a reader is a leader. They say that. A reader is a leader beyond doubt. You don't have to think twice about it because you read, you understand what is given to you, the world goes around you, and then you apply. So many things are changing, the knowledge is changing every day. So you cannot be rigid. Science or English or anything cannot be taught as a dogma. Those days are gone. So you must read, understand. Then a great leader is always a transformational leader. See, a transformational leader is always compared with a transactional leader. Both are good leaders, there is no doubt about it. But we can always say that a transformational leader is at a higher level. What is a transactional leadership? A transactional leadership is always that the goals are given to the teachers or whoever are working with them, and what they will do, transactional leader, what they will do is that the strategies are also given, okay, and then they will proceed with that, and beach may they will come and check whether it is done, how far has it proceeded, are you there, and then till the goal is reached, the transactional leadership will be behind you, with you. Is it bad? No, it is good. Okay, so a transactional leader handholds you, takes by your hand, takes you to the destination, leaves you there. It is something like this. Suppose I want to travel to Delhi. Imagine. So I'm asking somebody, how can I go to Delhi? So that person can two-way, he can say, okay, you want to go to Delhi, I am also going to Delhi, I'll take you. He can always say, you can either take an aircraft or you have a Rajdhani or an ordinary train you can take up. It may take a day or two from Mumbai to reach there. You will reach the destination and he will disappear. I would say the first one who said, I am also going there, you come with me, is a transactional leader. The second one is a transformational leader. He gave you clues, he gave you methods by which you can reach Delhi. Going is your job. That means he is empowering you. A transformational leader will always empower you. Actually, this I was conducting a leadership program for some principals. So I asked a question, a case study. See, Mahatma Gandhi was a great leader. The whole world is uh, after him for leadership traits, and there's no doubt we are very proud of him. Osama bin Laden also was a leader. Then what is the difference between them? He also had followers. Osama bin Laden also has followers. Even now he has followers. This one, transformational Mahatma Gandhi, he also has followers. Even today he has followers. There are several institutions which have been started after him. What is the difference between these two leadership? In the first case, since there is no way interaction is possible, but in these both cases, what happens is that the first one, where Laden was a leader, he had brainwashed the people to think in a particular direction, and he would tell them the goal. This is the goal, go do it, come back. And the followers would not even be allowed to think, or they don't even have to think. To the last T, the decision is taken, everything is taken, they have to go execute, come back. Whereas Mahatma Gandhi never did that. He never asked anybody to follow him. He said, I believe in truth, love, and ahimsa. I am going to do it. I will do it. Those who are having similar mentality can come with me, join hands with me. Others, I have no problem at all. This is transformational leadership, which means you are giving total freedom to the person whom you are leading to take decisions, to think for himself and take them along. Because these changes, these transformational leaderships, these changes which these people create are permanent. All right. Whereas in transactional leadership, once the job is done, they may forget. They may come back again to you next year. What shall we do? So, a principle, to my mind, if you want to become a great principal of any institution, you should learn to become a transformational leader. I'm going to give you a case study.
Ma'am, there is a question from Moshumi ma'am.
Okay.
And she asks, please suggest ways to inculcate leadership qualities in the students.
Hmm.
This quality will help them in their future endeavors.
Okay, Maushmi, leadership qualities in students can be inculcated. Number one point is that you have to behave like a leader. You have to behave, Maushmi, like a leader. Like, for example, you are going to start your academic year, imagine. So, set your goals in the beginning itself. Tell the children what you expect of them. My very dear children, you know Mausmi ma'am. Mausmi ma'am is going to expect these things from you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. And this is the help I can give you. This is what you will have to do. This is what your parents will have to do. And in case of any doubt, you should come to me. This is number one you have to do. And then in the class, you should engage strategies, teaching strategies, which inculcate leadership qualities. The strategies, teaching strategies, one of the best teaching strategy that can be developed in students is through project method of learning or thematic method of learning. You give a theme to the students, divide your children into small groups, ask them to discuss, you introduce the facts about it, let the children discuss and come forward. An original leader will emerge out of each group. You can wait and see. You don't even have to choose. They will come out, they will communicate, teamwork will be created. A leader is one who creates big teamwork. So, team will be created, expressions are formulated, expressions are allowed, and communication happens, and the students will come forward and tell you, yes, ma'am, we have done it. What next? The third point is that you should allow your children to ask questions, innumerable questions. Questions should not be considered by any teacher as a hindrance to learning. You should allow them, because when they are asking you questions, it means, I'm talking about constructive questions. When they are asking you questions, it means that they are listening to you. They are understanding what you are doing, and they want to make it very clear with you. Okay, these are some of the small tips in children, and again, you should trust them. Children say pyar se, you have to tell them, trust them. It's very, very important. And more than that, you should be knowledgeable 100% before you talk to the children. So, Maushmi, we will take up another session on strategies and making students as good leaders some other time. Okay, so let's go to the leadership thing. I'm going to give a case study. Listen very carefully. Imagine a school with 600 children. Your principal is on leave due to some health issues. Okay, this is a situation I am giving. You are the senior most, your school has 600 children. Your principal is on leave. You are a senior most teacher in charge. When the principal went on leave, you were asked to take the in charge principalship. Probably you could become the next principal if the principal is resigning. Okay? Personal life, at the same time, when these are happening at school, personal life, you had an irreparable loss. Somebody died in your family who's very close to you due to COVID. So you are personally anchoring a grief. At the same time, काम पे इतना काम भी है, principal is also on leave, and you are the senior most person, you are in charge principal. At work front, things were not smooth for you. What happened? In the pandemic, some of the children got education, some of them did not. You know that. The digital divide happened. Okay. But most importantly, the trust run school, your school was run by a trust, the management's revenue was affected. Payment to staff also stalled because children were not attending, parents lost their job, so children did not pay the fees, their regular fees, and the revenue of the school was affected. As a result, the staff were getting less salary, or sometimes that also was stalled. So on one side, your personal problem of grief, another side, money loss. Okay. Third thing is the professional front में इतना critical situation आया है. At the same time, on top of it, your staff retaliated. Because when they were not getting the salary, they retaliated. Because they all have a family. They all have to run. Their own homes also have been affected with COVID. So they all wanted money. They retaliated. Simultaneously, there comes another thunder blow. Parents retaliated, asking for cancellation of fees. They went to the court. So, professional front, you have serious issues. Personal front, you have so many other issues. Management does not have fund to run. So, the management is discussing with you, madam or sir, this is happening. What do? We don't have funds. If we have funds, we can give the teachers. We don't want to hold back. But there is no revenue coming for the last 1.5 years. So where do we go? Online learning also affected because many teachers abruptly resigned. They said आपका स्कूल में सैलरी नहीं मिल रहा है, so मैं इधर काम करने के लिए तैयार नहीं हूँ. They also left. So the online learning also got affected. So you have multiple challenges in front of you, confronting in front of you. Remember, you are not the original principal, but you are an in charge principal, but you are getting a taste of the real principal's life in a school. School faces closure. So the management says, discusses it with you and says, अरे बाबा हमको स्कूल नहीं चला सकते हैं, we want to close the school. What can you do? What will you do? What can you do? This is a classic example for emergence of leadership. In a leader's life, every time one challenge or the other happens, do you think when the principals are sitting in the chair, they are enjoying it? It is something like a seat of thorn. So many issues they have to handle. On top, they have to handle a management. With them, they have to handle the subordinates. They have to handle the parents. They have to handle the children. They have to have their own life. So these cases are not small. This case, which I have just narrated it to you, is a true case. Somebody shared it with me. How will you handle this situation? Has anyone got a suggestion, Sumit? Has anyone got a suggestion in the group?
Ma'am, I'm looking at the chat box.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I would be very interested in knowing, is there any solution for it?
yeah, so I'm looking at the chat box right now. Okay, so one of the teachers has responded with, this is exactly the situation occurred for many schools due to COVID. We can counsel the parents and motivate teachers and speak to the management for a midway.
Yes, yes, yes. That is a very good suggestion. That is a good suggestion. But I would suggest you, as a second in charge in the entire institution, the first thing, beautiful thing which can happen is communication. Communicate with the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? The parents are the stakeholders, children, your own teachers, your own management are the stakeholders. You have to start a dialogue. Before admitting defeat, my very dear teachers, before admitting defeat, you should make all trials, whatever way it is possible. So, this is one possibility. Another possibility is that you have your PTA, influence your PTA, bring them to your own side. You have your own teachers with whom you have confidence. Use your teachers, some teachers who are still loyal to the institution, use them as the advocates to speak to the other teachers. Request some, this is an option given to you, some retired teachers will be there. वो रिटायर्ड टीचर्स को लेके आओ आपका प्लेटफॉर्म में, बिकॉज द पीपल हैव लेफ्ट यू अब्रप्टली. You need the classes to be taken. Call them inside. Tell them that we would be able to supplement you with money or monetary benefits once we restart. Give it in writing if required. There isn't any problem for that. And then, if I am you, what I will do is that I will study my locality. If there is a corporate sector working in your own area, any industries, companies working, I would make a visit to the HR guy or to the chairman or to the director and request them, can they sponsor the education of few of your children who cannot really afford to pay the fees because they lost their job, their parents lost their job. This the companies may consider under a scheme of CSR, corporate social responsibility. It all depends on the way, gift of your gab, that you go talk to people. But one very important thing is that you should keep your mind very steady, very steady, should not admit defeat at all. You can persuade your management to hold on for some time, buy some time from them, because school closure is easy. Your 10th standard students and 12th standard students, where will they go if you close the school abruptly? Which other school will give them admission? I am not, this part of it, I am not saying, these are experiences that I have faced and I have also handled it. All right. So the management will understand it. Okay, so there are several ways we can discuss that, but this is a case which will exactly bring the leadership trait in you. Occasions when leadership truly emerges during an emergency. Very clearly, you can see who a leader is. The passive listener or an observer is never a leader. The one who acts is a leader. The one who reacts is not a leader. The one who acts is a leader. One who reacts is not a leader. Dealing with a tough situation, very difficult situation to handle, and conflict resolution hona chahiye, there the leadership emerges. Empowerment of staff and students, if you see, by delegating responsibilities. Okay, aisa ho raha hai, the school is facing a closure, I'll call 3 4 5 of my core team members, call them, give them responsibility. You call for a meeting of the parents, you discuss with the other teachers, you discuss with the students, let us divide the responsibility, delegate it, empower them, get things going. Decision making is very crucial. You cannot postpone a decision. Sometimes decisions can be of two types. One which requires immediate decision making. Another one which it is important, but you can take 1 or 2 days to think. So you will say, okay, I will think and give you a decision. But sometimes at the spur of a moment, you may have to make a decision. So you should be very well versed in making decisions. If the management is asking you for a closure of the school, you have a very easy option. What is it? Okay, sir, I will close the school. I will send circulars to the parents. This is one way of you behaving. Then you are not a leader at all. But on the contrary, if you say, sir, let us hold on for a while. Let me see what I can do about it. When one has to say no while the answer expected is yes, this very often happens, particularly with teachers. The principal will be demanding a lot of work from them, and the teacher may be pressurized for time, but the teacher will never say no. And in the course of the time, she would be really crumbled. So much of work. So this is because you couldn't say no to it when you really wanted to say no, but you said yes. You have to say no when you think that it is impossible. But there is only one point you have to remember. When you say no as an answer to someone, you should have a reason. Why is it a no? I am not at all, when I was a principal and director and all that, I was never interested in those people who said yes to whatever I say. I was very interested in people who said no to me. That means, one, they have a courage. Number two, that they are thinking. They have an answer. Showing courage and resilience to speak up is something as a leader you have to develop. Organizing and conduct of school events is one of the best examples. Like Maushmi asked me, how can we train the children for leadership? This is how events and your organizing school events, competitions, etc., you can involve your children. So, organizing and conduct of school events is one of the best examples for leadership skill. Now, leadership evolution happens with two things. One, personal qualities. The second one is professional qualities. There are certain personal traits that are required for leadership. Let's see what they are. One is compassion and empathy. You should be an extremely compassionate person. You should have that empathy. You should put yourself in somebody else's shoes and think. Sympathy is not required, empathy is required for you. So, compassion, kindness, love, respect, all of them are very, very important for a teacher who wants to become a leader. Courage and resilience, without that, you can't ever even enter the gate of leadership. Courage to stand up, to speak, communicate, whatever you have idea, you to think, analyze, all these are very important. Resilience. Many of your principles, you see, these kinds of pandemic happened. It was such a trying situation for them, but they were all resilient. They stood up, they handled the situation. You also handled the situation. When you were forced to learn technology, all of a sudden you learned it. So that is resilience. Rational thought and action. Very often we take decisions emotionally. Now, I am not saying emotion is bad, emotion is required, but decision making has to be purely rational. If it is emotional, then you will have to face it. Suppose you have to, as a leader, imagine, as a leader, you have to suspend or to terminate a teacher for a serious abuse, a case, a discipline, a decision. But you know that the teacher is a good teacher, the teacher has been with the institution for a long time, all that you know very well. So you have an emotional soft corner. Emotionally, you have a soft corner for that particular teacher. But then your rational thought is different. What happened? That has caused an infamy to the institution. It has caused a kind of an image of the school has been very badly affected because of one individual, and it has a bad effect on the other teachers, children, parents. So you have to take a decision. You have to say, haath jodkar, you have to say, I'm sorry, I can't help it. Decision making should be based on rational thought and proof. Scientific temper and creative imagination. The scientific temper is actually what is a scientific temper? How do science people work? I'm a science person. How do science people work? Okay, I have a problem. I have to sort out that problem. So what will I do? I will write down the problem first. This is something which I have to sort out. Okay, why did it occur? What is the cause for it? How can I sort out this problem? What are the ways and means to tackle these issues? What is the best out of it? Let me ask some people, is there any proof before such a situation has happened elsewhere and some decision has been taken? Can I do some research and find out? Yes, I'll do that, find out, correlate with my findings, and then I take a decision. A scientific temper requires a scientific thinking, a sequence in thinking. In between, you cannot lose some thoughts. You cannot have gaps. That gaps will be so huge and wide, you will be dropped in if you miss the gap. Okay? And creative imagination. Sometimes the imagination of you must be very creative. The solution will be very creative. So that also has to be out of the way thinking. Out of the way thinking. Okay? So this is another sound ethical values. Your personal values must be very sound. transparent, truthful, honest, loving. These personal values which you hold should be very sound. Come whatever may, I will not give up on these values. And decision making skill. So, this is very, very important. How do you make a decision? Now, when I talk about strong ethical values, you may have several great ethical personal values. But when your organization's larger goal is concerned, sometimes you may have to give up your personal value, which, if you think that is going to do good to thousands of children and thousands of parents, there is nothing wrong in that. On the other side, as a personal value, you should stick to your values. Excellent communication skill. It is not enough that you have all this thinking in your mind. You must be able to express, speak to the other person, convince the other person. So these are all the personal qualities for leadership evolution. The professional qualities that you need to have is you should develop instructional leadership, pedagogical leadership, meaning you should be a master of your subject, master in teaching. You should know about the other subjects as well. You may be an English teacher, but you should know what maths teacher is doing, what science teacher is doing, what art, craft, music teachers are all doing, and how you will be able to integrate them all, because that's what NEP wants you to do. So you should be an instructional leader. This is what I realized when I took up my first leadership position in a school, because I came to Bombay and I don't know Marathi. Now I understand, but then I didn't. But when the Marathi teachers come and sit with me to discuss their lesson plans, they all had a giggle on their face. They all were smiling like this. I felt so bad. But they are right. What capacity do I have to guide the Marathi teachers about Marathi? I can't. But then I made them understand that I may not be able to guide them with Marathi, but I can always tell them how Marathi could be taught, the methods that they can adopt, the question paper, how they could prepare a great question paper, which can elicit very great answers from them. So instructional leadership, in the long run, I learned. I learned computer studies. I was not good at computer at all. I was, in fact, scary of computers. But then I learned it. Necessity is the mother of invention. If you want to sit in the chair of the principal, you must be a pedagogical leader. You should be a structural leader. We will be explaining all this again. So I'm just quickly going through this and I'll come back to it again. Facilitative leadership. You should facilitate the teachers, their working. You should participative leadership. You should participate in that, and supportive leadership. These 5, if you have, you can definitely become a brilliant leader. Those principals who are sitting there listening to me can always check, make a self-analysis whether they are too good in certain things. Maybe here and there they may have to improve in the other. It would be an opportunity for them. Let us see. This I call as facets of educational leadership: structural, facilitative, supportive, participative, and instructional. Let us see what is structural leadership. Structural leader is one who will make very quick decisions. How can people make quick decisions? Because they are thorough. They are thorough with the issue. So when an issue comes to them, they know this is how it could happen. It could be like, you take up, for example, let me give you an example. You have adopted a new methodology of teaching for English, and you have made it mandatory that all the English teachers can practice this new methodology of teaching in all classes. There is this teacher, one teacher who's so very senior and who believes that the board and the chalk only are the best method to teach English, is refusing to budge. The HOD of your institution thak gaya. Your coordinators are so very badly affected because of this one element, refusing to change. So what kind of a decision you can take here? Call that teacher, discuss with them, place your request beforehand. You cannot lose the teacher, definitely. You can give a suggestion. I can send you for a training for 1 day, 2 day, 3 day. This training you will have to take positively. If you are not going to take the training and catch up with the rest of your group, probably you may have to go to another lower class where such methodologies may not be in demand. Don't you think the teacher will not learn? They will. They will. Decision making has to be quick, clear, and decisive delegation of responsibilities. This I am giving you a very good example for a bad leadership. I will give you. I was guiding an English principal, when I mean to say a Britisher. That was an IGCSE institution, Cambridge curriculum in Dubai. So I was guiding that. I was the director there. So sometime I was helping them. So when a new teacher was appointed there to teach from Israel, so that teacher, she was not Israel, South Africa. That teacher was good in certain area. She was good for as a first standard teacher. Okay. So class assignment, this British principal, Britishers have an extra bone with them. You can't do anything about it. Okay. They think that Indians are still their slaves, like once upon a time we were all. Okay. So she did not want to listen to me at all. She right away gave that South African lady an appointment in a preschool. Now, preschool is not a small thing. You have to work so hard in preschool. So much of lesson and training is required there. Unko class assignment udar diya. Ek mahina dekha. Then she was an utter failure. Parents complained. Some withdrew their children. So the principal came to me. What to do? So I said, I told you, put her in first standard. So no, she still put her into fourth standard. There also she failed. Again, pushed her to fifth standard, failed. Finally, that teacher came to me running, crying out of me, Madam, I got a termination order telling me that I am not fit for this institution. Kindly help me. Now, whose fault is this? The fault of the principal. Correct assignment of a teacher. A teacher has a talent. A teacher has a caliber. Knowing the caliber, quality, quantity of the teacher, qualification of the teacher, capability of the teacher, assign the class. You may have a vacancy in 8th standard, but if the teacher is not capable enough for 8th standard, do not appoint. So delegation of responsibility is a very important job of structural leadership. Always concerned about organizational goals and outcomes. The organization's growth is always in their mind and the outcome is always there. They are visionary people and they think like that. One's always a cohesiveness among staff as a philosophy for working. They want their teachers to be always cohesive. They should all be together. They should all listen to each other. They should all be in a team. Remember, there may be one black sheep always in a team. And the black sheep will always dissent. The black sheep will always say, no, I won't do it. Or why should I do it? These questions are very common to the principals. You also, as HODs or coordinators, would have faced this kind of questions. I would appreciate such questions, seriously, because if someone is disagreeing to agree with you or agreeing to disagree with you, that means there is something. Then I can again think about my own decisions. So, you always expecting cohesiveness is good, but it may not happen always. Then you should be able to handle the situation. Monitors the implementation. Transactional leadership is purely transactional leadership. You will monitor the implementation, which is very important for you as a principal, as a leader, because your management will ask for results at the end of the year. So, transactional leadership is important, structural leadership is important, good relation with government or board. You should always have a great communication dialogue with your people. Second is facilitative leadership. What is this facilitative leadership? Makes all facilities with requisite resources for the team to proceed. You decide on certain decisions and your team is ready to work. Then you make all the facilities. You don't even wait. You don't wait for the teachers to ask, Madam, this karna hai, sir, ye karne ke liye ye chahiye, wo chahiye. This is poor leadership. When you take a decision, when you are deciding on an event, when you are deciding on a training program, when you are deciding on some kind of a learning sessions for your people, you should know what are the resources which are required for it. Before they ask for, you should be able to provide. Reinforces schools' policies. Whatever are the policies, you have to follow that. Sometimes certain policies may not gel with the actual conditions prevailing in the institution. You may disagree to abide by the policy. फिर भी ये मैं बोल रही हूँ, you have to take the approval of your superiors, principals. You have to take the approval of your directors or the management to change any policy. Minimized bureaucratic work. You don't expect people to report to you every now and then. No. काम होने के बाद बताओ. You decide the deadline. You say you will complete this work in 1 week. Fine. After 1 week, tell me it is done. Very good. Offers suggestions to solve the issues when asked for. Don't interfere. They don't interfere. If anybody asks a doubt, they are not able to solve, they help them solve the issue. Focused, organized and planned. You have a very good organized way of working. You know, today I have to do these jobs. They do it, complete it, come back. Organized and planned, focused on results. I know what I want, so I will proceed. This is facilitative leadership. Now,
Ma'am, before we move to the next leadership style, there is one question that we have received from the participants. So the question is, what if the teacher has got some behavioral issues, and she's not ready to listen to? So what should be the line of action as a leader?
The line of, you know, who asked that question?
Let me see the name. So yeah, so Ms. Shalini.
Shalin, these kind of teachers are always there everywhere. Every institution has such teachers. Behavioral issues. I can give you an example. When I took over as principal in this big institution, there was a teacher who did not want to accept my leadership. Okay, so whatever I do, she will come in between. She felt that she was senior, elderly to me, so she could have become the principal. Why did the management choose me? But that I can't help. Management chose me is different. So there was always a problem. So what that person did was wrote a letter to the management stating that this is not acceptable. Okay. Management sent that letter straight to me asking me, Dr. Ravi, you can handle it yourself. That is the time I know that she has gone to such an extent. Now, what should I do? It is a serious behavioral issue. If in schools we feel that if there is a problem with an individual, first you have to discuss with that individual. If that person is not able to solve your problem, then you will go to the higher ups. Here it has not happened. So I was following this Munabai MBBS story cinema you have seen, right? Exactly like this, Jadoo Ki Jappi. That is what happened from my side. It also happened, it was a very sad thing to say, but it so happened that while this was happening, I came to know that she has been struggling so much with the disease called cancer. So something had to be done to save that person. And so I had no other choice. And she needed the money which was coming from the school for her livelihood. I could not say, I will not give you the salary. 1 year it has gone. 1 year the salary she will lose if she goes for a treatment. So it was a very sad thing. So I recommended to the management. I said, we cannot do. She has been a great teacher with us. We should give her the full salary. The management agreed. 1 year leave with full salary, and I gave one of my peons every day after school hours to go to her home, help her out with any kind of a help, running around errand or all those, and that peon I paid from school. Okay, and any lady servant is there to help her out with her kitchen. So much of help I did for her. After 1 year, when she returned, she was a transformed person. Shalin, what I'm trying to say is that behavioral issues with the teachers are happening because they are fighting a battle inside them, a battle of insecurity. They might be having some issues at their personal front, and if the other person is ready to forget the differences and offer a helping hand, probably that person may transform altogether. Everybody is fighting an internal battle. Believe me, at this moment, I am also fighting an internal battle. When you are asking this, you are also fighting an internal battle. But the difference is that I am sometimes, some people may not be able to contain it. So that spills around like poison in the atmosphere, and it makes the atmosphere poisonous. All right, Shalin. So what happens is that if the others are also behaving like that, then there is no difference. So offer a helping hand, a loving helping hand to such people, understanding very clearly that they are going through difficulties. It is your job to help them. Probably you will see a changed person. This has worked with me, and hence the solution. Thank you. Facilitative leadership. This is over. Now, supportive leadership. Supportive leadership with the team always supporting and encouraging. The leader is always with the team, always supports the team, always encourages. Suppose somebody is feeling a little low, come on, motivate them. Come on, let's all do it. Let's all do it. Come on, come on. Compassionate. I told you it has the personal quality of yours. Compassionate. Must be compassionate. Even in the case of this teacher, you must be compassionate. Feel pity. Feel pity on those people who are behaving badly with you because they don't know what they are doing. They are struggling. They are battling in their own mind with something, some issues. Okay, trust when delegates responsibilities. This is something very interesting, I would say. Suppose there is a principal, imagine a principal, a leader. You do this, okay, sir, you will complete this job within 7 days, okay? And then after second day, you are doing it, right? Did you do it? Did you do this? Did you do this? Fourth day again, I'm sure you are doing it, no? This is irritating the people. There was somebody like that with me also. Some, I have a very bad habit. I would call it as a bad habit, but actually it is a good one, in the sense that once somebody gives you a responsibility, then I don't need guidance. If somebody constantly asks, did you do it, did you do it, that means I am somebody, I am an amateur, I'm not a professional. I am a professional, I know how to complete the job. So you should trust the people when you give the job. But if you are giving the job, sometimes you may be giving the job for the first time. In the first time, you may have to check up whether that person is comfortable with the job or not, which is okay, but not constantly. Approachable. Any difficulties the people have, team has, the leader should be approachable. There are certain schools where I have been consulting, I have seen principals don't entertain teachers. They cannot go and see the principals so easily. Very difficult. Why? They were all once teachers, weren't they? Reward the individual efforts. If in a team an individual member is doing a brilliant job, never hesitates to reward the teacher openly. The reward, which as a leader you must understand, that the reward need not be always money. This is a bad thinking. Teachers don't always ask for money. Teachers most of the time want recognition, appreciation. So, in an open assembly or in a staff meeting or in a board meeting, if you are appreciating the good effort of a teacher, that's more than sufficient. So, enhances staff and student morale. That is also very important. The staff has to be kept always. You can scold the staff as a leader, but you should not allow the outsiders, the parents, the community to scold your staff. The staff should feel secured in your presence. This is supportive leadership. Now comes participative leadership. This is actually very open to understanding issues. You are very open, participatory. I have taken a decision, yeah. If you don't like it, come on, let's discuss it. This is participative, very open, and ready to change also. Sometimes the decision that you have taken may not be appropriate. A small teacher, yesterday joined teacher, may be able to say, Madam, it is not a good decision. You may be ready to change if it is not good. Before taking decision, takes inputs and suggestions. This is the brilliant example of participative leadership. But remember one thing, my very dear teachers and principals, is that decision making inputs can be taken from everyone, but decision maker is only one. All of them cannot make decisions. All of them can give you inputs. Decision making is done by one, and signature is only that of the one. That is your skill. What decision out of the inputs you are choosing is your skill. Works very well with teams and groups. Very, very effective team management involves people in decision making. Not all decisions the team can take. There are certain decisions the principals will have to take themselves, but most of the cases you can always get the inputs. So this is about participative leadership. Now comes instructional leadership. Able to set academic direction for the school. As a leader, if you are a teacher today, tomorrow you want to become the principal of the institution, you should be able to give very clear academic direction. You should also be academically very, very strong for this. Academically very strong means not only in your subjects, you should know at least what is happening in the other subjects in the school. Knows about the different processes, methodologies in dealing with different subjects, the strategies which are adopted to teach various subjects. You should know. That is very, very important. Capable to give instructional guidelines to staff. Instructional guidelines to staff regarding assessment, regarding lesson planning, regarding the strategies that you offer, which means you should be complete enough before you give that. Monitor the students' academic performances, linking it with instruction. Actually, this is a very important job of an instructional leader. The school results should be analyzed by the principal, which I call as academic analysis. Every term, every examination should be analyzed, and what is the last student in the institution doing with few subjects. You should be able to guide your teachers. Very authentic and convinced when talks about subjects. That's very important. If I am authentically today, I am not a computer staff. But if I am going to talk about an ERP module being set up in an institution authentically, that generates certain respect for you. I can talk like that to the people today about ERP. What is it? What is data security? I can talk. So when you are talking to the people about other subjects, that will really convince the others about the confidence that you have, the authenticity that you have. Willingly learn subjects that are not one's own core subject. That I said already. Now comes NEP and leadership. NEP, yes?
Ma'am, can we take one question before we move to the
Yes,
point?
yes.
So
Yes.
one of the teachers has asked, what should a person do if the leader is just supporting the favorite and they do not see the hard work, dedication,
Just supporting
the favorite ones?
ah
So what to do in that case? So this question has been asked repeatedly by.
yeah, many will be there. I know it very well. It happens in schools. Principals, I am not talking about the good principals. Whoever are sitting there, all are good. I'm not talking about any of them, but there are certain principals who are chamchas, who love chamchas, who all say yes to you. They will love those people. That is there. So you have a very limited choice to succeed in such cases, because how much ever work you put in, how much ever hard work you are doing, that is not going to show up. So what is your best way to do? See, from your superiors you are not going to get appreciation, isn't it? So from where will you get your appreciation? One is your peer group. Number two is your students. Your battlefield is your students. Do best, great methodologies, do still better, do innovate, do bring in lot of changes. Take all your children to your side by your skill in teaching, by your skill in inspiring them. What will happen? Parents will report, ये टीचर अच्छी है, ये टीचर good है. So opportunity, the principal cannot negate it. No principal will be able to negate that, because in all the PTA meetings, if the teacher's good name is coming up, that becomes a good name for you. What more you need? Hell with the principal. You need only appreciation. Let it come from the people who are recipients of your service, not the person who is sitting above you and not bothered about you. Okay? Now, getting a promotion in your institution, that may be a little hard as long as this principle is there. But I wouldn't ever want you to deviate and go to the management in an indirect way. That's bad. You shouldn't do that. Okay? But if it is a good management, they will notice. They will notice the best ones. All right. So keep patiently waiting, doing great job in the classroom. That is your battlefield. Go on doing the great job. All right. Now, NEP and leadership. NEP and leadership has got a great connection because biggest role of school leaders as pronounced by NEP is developing full human potential, developing an equitably just society and promoting national development. This is a big, tall task for all the principals. They have to develop the human potential, which means your own students and teachers. Develop a just society, a society which has a lot of values and skills and all that, and promoting national development, creating entrepreneurs, creating people who believe in themselves, start businesses, start doing great things. Okay. And establishing preschool teaching and learning and systems. This is something which which has been, actually speaking, ignored in most of the preschools. If you see, all preschools have got a head, and the preschool head knows everything about preschool. Okay, she may not know about the other classes, but about preschool, she or he may be doing brilliant job. And for the entire school, there will be a principal, and that principal is always worried about 10th standard and 12th standard. May not have a connect with the ECC head. My request to you is that, and that is what NEP is also saying, that you have to, that is why it is called pedagogical leadership, the new terminology. You have to sit with the preschool, groom your children, because to me, if you ask me personally, preschool teachers should be given the highest salary. They are the ones who groom the children to what you want tomorrow. So preschool is a very important thing, and quality enhancement in academics, assessment, curricular transaction, teacher empowerment, transparent communication with public, teacher appointment, and rules for that. So they are looking for an overall persona of leadership, a kind of a superhuman being is what they are looking for. And school clusters, they want the principals to form, and governance के ऊपर importance देने के लिए बोल रहा है. This is what they are all looking. I am going to give you a checklist. With this, I am closing. A checklist for your own self. I don't know. Maybe you can click a photograph of it and do it yourself, or I will send it to Collins. Am I acceptable in my team? Yes, no, somewhat. You write it for your own self. Don't have to satisfy anybody. Do I take decisions quickly or take few days to wait for someone else to take it? Yes, no, not sure. Do I look for minute details when a plan is presented to me? Yes, no, somewhat. This is very important. Minute details, looking for minute details is a very important quality of leadership. But most of us, what they do is, our subordinates will be bringing papers, and without looking into it, we will sign, which is very wrong. I do check always to see the completion of what is decided or implemented. Yes, no, not always. As a teacher, I wish to do different things in all my classes so that the children get glued to my lessons. Yes, no, not always. I am a good communicator. Yes, no, not really so well. My colleagues say that I am very aggressive. Yes, no, always. I assert what I want. Yes, no, always. Aggressive and assertive are different. Aggressive means at whatever cost you would have got it. Assertive means you can be polite, still you can say, I want this. That is assertiveness. I read a lot. Yes, no, sometimes. I take out time to be with all my friends till they finish their work. Yes, no, sometimes. This will give you tentatively some feeling about all the different facets of leadership. If you fit into any of those, then you can groom yourself on that. A certain sessions on leadership you will have to take, and you can be groomed. A teacher is always a great, great person who can touch the lives of others. Okay, so it is better to lead from behind and to put others in front, especially when you celebrate victory, when nice things occur. You take the front line when there is danger, then people will appreciate your leadership. This is what I said as a leader leads from behind. This is none other than Nelson Mandela. Okay, when your school gets 100% results, we have seen, I have seen in Bombay, it is too common. All the principals will be seen in the Times of India headlines. This school has got all the principals making great, great, great statements. Where are the teachers? Make your teachers speak for you. Why are you in the front when the school gets credit? Let the teachers take the credit. When the school has a danger, you stand in the front and say that I am responsible, I will handle it. That is leadership. That is true leadership. All right. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for such a lovely session. So, teachers, before we wind up the session, a very important announcement to make. We are sharing the feedback form links in the comment box on YouTube. Please fill the feedback form with your correct information so that it reaches to the respective authorities. So we are sharing the feedback form in the comment box. Please check that, fill in that form carefully, and share it back with us. So, ma'am, thank you so much for a lovely session. And the kind of participation that we have on YouTube by the participants, it feels like it should continue for hours. But due to the paucity of time, we will have to wind up the session.
There
Can
are
we?
questions? Any questions, Sumit?
Yes, ma'am. So I was about to ask you, can we take two questions before we wind up the session?
Always.
Okay. So one question that we have received from Devanshana ma'am, and she asks, how is educational leadership effective in terms of school?
Educational leadership effective in terms of school.
School effectiveness.
Repeat it once again. I am trying to.
Let
Yeah.
me read.
Mm.
So, how is educational leadership related to school effectiveness?
Oh,
That's the
school effectiveness. Oh, very good. Thank you so much for asking this question. This was the topic of my PhD, first PhD. So thank you very much. I was doing a PhD in this case, that what factors contribute to the effectiveness in the school, effectiveness of the school and relationship with principals, education, all the factors, starting from the students, the effectiveness of the students, that relate to the leadership, effectiveness of the teachers, that the way you are able to bring out the talents of your teachers and give them challenges so that they rise above the expectations of everyone. Grooming your teachers, effectiveness comes, that is related to the leader. The parents, taking the parents into your hands, not by being a chamcha to them, but directing them, guiding them, telling them that this is right, you are not talking right things, this is what the school has got to do and we would have done it that way. Getting those parents onto your sides is your effectiveness, that is an effectiveness. getting the managements understand that you are working, and this is the direction that you are going, and you have reasons to go in those directions, and this is how I will do. That is the kind of effectiveness, you can say. Interestingly, there was in my hypothesis, it's relevant, hence I am saying this is very important to this principles. One of the points of hypothesis that I chose was, there was a query from somewhere that do educated parents contribute to the effectiveness of the school? Do educated parents contribute to the effectiveness of the school? My very dear principals, the finding was no. There is nothing like that. Educated parents will be doing great job, and uneducated parents will not be able to do a great job. It all depends on your teachers and your children. Simple. Similarly, the socio-economic divide in the group of children, does that affect your effectiveness? No, it doesn't affect your effectiveness at all. A principle is above all of this. It doesn't affect your effectiveness. You are there, what you want to do, you would have done that. Okay, so the qualifications, that also, only one place where it was a positive affirmation is that the qualifications of the teachers, do they contribute to the effectiveness of the school? The finding was yes. It matters. It matters. So many ways, all these factors contribute to the effectiveness. Thank you.
Thank you so much for answering this question, ma'am. Before we move to the next question, just one more request to all the teachers. Teachers, if you have any further questions, before we move to the last question for the day, just one announcement to make. In case if you have any questions further, you can write to us to schoolsupport@harpercollins.co.in. The email ID has been mentioned in the comment box, so you can post your questions to that email ID and we will respond to you as soon as possible. So, ma'am, the last question for the day is, it is from Amrita, ma'am, and she wants to know the difference between a mentor and a leader.
Mentor and a leader.
Leader.
Amrita, hats off to you for this question. It's a beautiful question. Actually, both are one and the same. Leader and mentor are one and the same. It is a kind of a mindset, I would say. A leader is always a leader. Let us see, what is a mentor? A mentor is one who allows someone with him or with her to and groom that person, helps that person to groom and proceed further, and like that goes on. Okay, and this person, mentor, doesn't want any kind of what do you call, intern, anything return में कुछ नहीं expect करता है. This is a mentor. You do really well. I'm so happy. You are grooming well. You do really well. You proceed. I'm happy. This is a mentor, a true mentor. But the moment the mentor expects that the person who's proceeding with his or her own help has to return back every time to say thank you, then the mentorship disappears. Then it is not a mentorship at all. You empower, you help the person to go ahead. Okay. Now, what is a leader? A leader is also doing the same empowerment. I will give you a best example and wind up this with a small experience. Amrita, are you a mother?
Let me check the comment box on.
She may have left actually. Anyway, so what happens is that an example. This is a Chinese saying. The Lao book is there. That it has got a small paragraph. It talks about child delivery. When a pregnant lady lies on the table for delivery. She is in huge pain. Okay? Very great pain. And she doesn't know what to do and screaming and all that. Then comes the gynecologist. Now, what Lasso says is that the leader is like a midwife. Now, what is a midwife? Good old times, there were no gynecologists. There were only ladies, old ladies who come to deliver the babies and then go. Okay. So the midwife comes, they call the midwife. The midwife stands near the head of the lady, near the head of the lady, and tells her, gives her good suggestions, directions, what she should do, how she should position herself, etc. Then what happens is that with great difficulty, the child is born. The midwife helps the lady deliver the baby. Once the baby is out, then what does the midwife do? Take the baby, take it near the mother who's so very tired, so very tired. And what is the way the mother looks? The mother looks at the child like this, you know, lying and likes look at the son, the baby, and the eyes will read like this: oh my son, we made it, we made it. Okay, not anybody else, we made it, you and me made it. The midwife will be looking at this, and he will quietly smile and disappear. You are a midwife. A true leader is always a midwife. If he is going to be a mentor, he should be like a midwife, not expect any credit for the work that they have done. There are people to talk about it. Some other job as a midwife goes to another delivery. He's not worried about this. That's the difference between a leader and a mentor. Good.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a lovely information on a leader and a mentor. And this has been a great learning experience for me. And I'm pretty sure that this has been the same for the participants who have attended the session on YouTube today. Some of the key points that I would like to state before we end the session. Like you mentioned right in the beginning, that you can take the horse to the pond, but not make it drink. And for that, you said, you have to keep the horse thirsty. The teacher is the guru, and the leaders are readers. And you also said that the great leaders don't always lead from the front. And the case study that you presented was really amazing. That led to the open communication to all the stakeholders that we have in the school. So thank you so much, ma'am, for such a lovely and such an informative session, and it has brought an amazing learning to all the participants. So before we wind up the session, I would like to reiterate this, that we have mentioned the feedback form link in the comment box on YouTube. Please click on that link and fill in your information with your valuable feedback. Also, if you have further questions, I know it was not possible to take everybody's question in the session today. So if you have further questions, please write to schoolsupport@harpercollins.co.in. I repeat, schoolsupport@harpercollins.co.in. So in the end, I would like to thank everybody who participated in the session. Air Force Management, thank you so much for giving us an opportunity to have an interaction with the lovely teachers. Dr. Ravi, ma'am, thank you so much. And last but not the least, the participant, the lovely audience who has attended the session today. Without your participation, this session wouldn't have been a success. So thank you so much for making it a grand success. And with this, we would like to take a leave. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening ahead, and keep healthy, stay safe. Thank you.